Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to the Garn Report from Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York. Celtics winners 129-106 over the Nets. They take the stops that they piled up early. 8 out of the first 10 possessions, the Nets walk away empty-handed. A couple live ball turnovers. The Celtics are off to the races and build a double-digit lead into the second quarter. They make that a 20-point lead into the third, the fifth time over the last 8 that they've built a 20-point lead in a game, and they run away with this one. Lead by as many as 29. As shorthanded Nets, certainly unable to compete with the Celtics defense, and then you see it build in the transition basketball, and then you see the ball movement of the early third quarter there. Al Horford, Derek White swarming the ball handler Kessler Edwards on that play, breaking out for a 2-on-1, very fundamental, but they do finish there, and Tatum and Peyton Pritchard breaking out a few plays later end up finishing another 2-on-1. So the pace, the movement, that early portion of the third quarter, as I just said, it was the key moment of this game. A couple swings around the perimeter, Marcus Smart to Jason Tatum, down on the post to Jaylen Brown, who found a cutting Horford. Tatum and Smart got a couple catch-and-shoot opportunities there off good ball movement. Of course, Marcus Smart stepping in off the bench, throwing a lob to Robert Williams. The Celtics were fully intact for this one. Make a bunch of plays on the defensive end early, hold the Nets to 41% shooting from the field. And this defense and the ball movement and the transition play, the pace that they generate off the defense, these three things that the Celtics are doing game in and game out, especially after an all-star break that they just went through here, they're starting to become the basis of what the Celtics do game in and game out. The most inconsistent team playing the most consistent basketball in the NBA now, winners of 17 of 22, so we're talking well over a quarter of the season. Going back to Christmas, really, where they've been the number one defense by far, but as Ime Udoka predicted, once they start to play with more pace, more transition game, and they do the different things that they do on the defensive end, you get a top 10 offense too. So the question I'm asking here in Brooklyn is not just based off this game where you were going against Seth Curry and Andre Drummond and Kessler Edwards and the likes, Patty Mills. Nets missed a ton of shots, by the way. Why can't this team compete for a championship with the position that they're starting to thrust themselves into in the East? Game and a half back of the 3 seed now, winning at the rate that they are. The schedule remaining soft. It's Detroit on Saturday, right after this win against an completely shorthanded Nets team. Why not? Why not? You have the number one defense by miles. That's one end of the floor. Offensively, you scrap it together with excellent ball movement. Jason Tatum, 30 points while swinging the ball inside out through a clean second quarter after 3 early turnovers. Jaylen Brown making touch passes from the interior to the outside. Had his best passing game in a while with 6 assists. And Robert Williams, the way he's able to completely shift the floor, you see it against a guy like Andre Drummond, who you think he might have trouble with. Certainly gave him fits on the defensive end, fouling up. On the offensive end, Rob counteracted that with those rim runs, the lobs that he caught, the free throws that he generated going to the basket. And Smart finding him again and again. And Smart coming off that injury against Philadelphia. Wasn't sure what he was going to bring. Shoot around this morning, as I talked about on Celtics CLNS Twitter report. He wasn't moving well. Huge pack of ice on his right ankle. Well, he comes out, hits 5 of 6 from 3, including tribute to Dennis Schroeder, rolling the ball past half court, pulling up from the right wing. I believe that was in the third quarter. And a bunch of other catch-and-shoot situations against that zone where him and Robert Williams hooked up and made magic happen on quick inside-out passes. Celtics had a plan to counteract that zone. They executed it perfectly. And Ime Udoka, as he talked about after the game, month and a half here ago, saying that this team might not have the mental toughness it needs to get through fourth quarters, clutch situations, not having a leader to step up. Well, now everybody's making plays on the ball, and it's starting to become indicative of who this team is and what he can rely on them to be night in and night out. Here's what he said after this game, just in terms of this starting to become a bit of a coach's dream, this group, and how consistent they are.
Yeah, it is. It's what you ask for as a coach. And like to your point, showing up with a certain mindset every night is what you look for as a coach. The part that is stressful is when you're not sure. And so, like you said, we bought into a defensive mentality and we're sharing the ball. The 2 simple things that we kind of harped on take some time to happen, but now, for the most part, to your point, I feel great about going into every game, no matter the opponent, that we're going to do certain things. And, shots are going to fall or not, but we're going to be solid defensively. We're going to share the ball offensively. And more often than not, you'll get good results.
So now that they've developed this, why not start to dream of how far this can go? Philadelphia, we'll see what they become. Brooklyn, we'll talk about them in the next video, but they are a shell of themselves right now, losing 13 of 15 and not knowing when Ben Simmons is going to come back. Durant in the knee. Kyrie got some good news this week, certainly. But this group, the role players that they're playing with right now, Steve Nash hasn't been able to get a lot out of them. And in turn, Nash before the game said, Celtics by and far the best defense of 2022 here, challenging them certainly to get quality looks throughout this one, inside and out. And you see the way a defender just naturally attaches to a new offensive player when open space does form. And boy, do they swarm knowing Robert Williams is on the back line. I talked to Marcus Smart about that shoot around. I'll be writing about it for CLNS Media. Just what this defensive system that Udoka has successfully implemented here allows them to do on both ends of the court now, because it is translating the offense. And the way that they've committed to things here, the little habits that Udoka wanted them to develop, it's working and it's becoming something special. And I think people around the league are starting to take notice that Celtics, every bit as good as the Bucks, the Heat, all these teams that have become shoo-ins as these contenders, why not Boston? I think they're starting to prove it at this point with just the longevity of what they've developed here. And I have every bit of confidence in them. As long as they're healthy and intact, what they've been able to develop here and execute consistently game in and game out, that's the key. This doesn't waver, the defense. You know that that's going to be there. And if that's there, they can parlay that into other things on the offensive end. So I am fully confident that the Celtics, I'm ready to say it, are an Eastern Conference contender. They can make the NBA Finals this year, especially the way the two players at the top, Brown and Tatum, are leading by example here. So we talked about calm early in the year. We were trying to calm down through panic time. Now, Celtics are trying to get things in order for a run here. And your small business, big business, you got to get things in order too. And give Coda.io a chance to do it for you. Their apps all come together in one suite to give you everything you need as an organization in one spot. Everybody's working at home still, most people, at least part-time, and to give yourself one spot as a business where you can have everything. That's what Coda, CODA.io is going to allow you to do. So go to coda.io/garden, give them a chance to get your organization organized for the stretch run and for the midpoint of this year and in the summer. Get right. Go to coda.io/garden, coda.io. Give them a chance to get your organization in order. Celtics win 129-106 from Brooklyn, New York. Celtics, CLNS Media. Celtics on to Detroit, where they will play at 12. Don't forget the start time, 12. Against the Pistons, try to bounce back from the very disappointing loss before the break that prevented this from being an 11-game win streak for the Celtics now here. They've won 10 of 11 instead. As I said, 17 of 22. The hottest team in the NBA keeps it going after the break. I'm Bobby Manning from Brooklyn, from New York, from Barclays Center. Last time we'll be on the road for a little while here. We will see you back in Boston, and we'll see you on Saturday on Celtics Postgame live right after the game. Jimmy, Josue, Sherrod, John, and I.